This is Jarrod Horak, and I'm back with my final video this week, and I'm going to do for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. For these points races, I'm going to do the Santa Anita Derby and the Santa Anita Oaks. I'm going to give out my top picks for each of those two races. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content on the road to the Derby and the Oaks. Now, if you're interested in my Santa Anita Derby Day full card, that full card will be available at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page later this week. A lot of bonus races, stakes races from Aqueduct, Keeneland, and other races as well. So check out the runawayhorse.com on my sales page if you're interested, and my Triple Crown Series full cards from Churchill Downs, Pimlico, and Belmont Park later this spring will be available as well at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page. And I have all the Triple Crown products that I'm going to be covering listed on that sales page now. And now we're going to get into the analysis of this one. I'll start with the Santa Anita Derby. I'll go through the analysis. I'll give out my top choice. Same thing in the Santa Anita Oaks. The Santa Anita Derby will be the sixth race on Saturday, April 8th, 2023 at Santa Anita Park. Grade 1, $750,000 Santa Anita Derby. 3-year-olds traveling a mile and an eighth on the main track. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time is the post time for the sixth race. And number one for trainer Doug O'Neill is on the improve. I Don't Get It. And this is a son of Cloud Computing. I did pick him on top in a maiden race last time, and he won that one. But before that, he had back-to-back fourth place finishes in his 6.5 furlong debut, and then 1 mile. He finished fourth to Skinner, who's in this race. And then I Don't Get It got his maiden win last time. He has ability, and he has been improving, but I just don't know if he's quite this good at this point. But he's one that I think can turn into a decent sort. Dazzlemesilver is next. For trainer Keith DeSarmo, this one's a maiden with 2 third-place finishes. And Kent DeSarmo, Keith's brother, will be aboard here. And Kent DeSarmo has very good stats in route races. Now, this horse, Kent D rode him twice, and he was third in a 6-horse field, beaten 9 lengths in his 6 furlong debut, or 6.5 furlong debut. And then a mile and a 16th on a good track second time out. He was an even third. I Don't Get It won that one. He's number 1 in this race. And that was a nice forward move from a speed rating standpoint. And Keith DeSarmo typically races his horses into shape. I can see this horse continuing to improve. I just can't see him winning the Santa Anita Derby. The next one is Go Rocket Ride, and he should be all over the pace. Richard Mandela, the trainer. Flavien Prat rode first 2 times. He'll ride back. And this son of Candy Ride out of an Uncle Mo mare was a $350,000 purchase. Like that debut, got to the front, wired the field, strong effort there in a 6-horse field at 6 furlongs on January 29th. Second time out, grade 2 San Felipe. So he had Lasix in his career debut on January 29th. They threw him right into a stakes race second time out, and he was not embarrassed at all. He was actually the favorite, which was very surprising considering he was so inexperienced, and he ran a good race. He chased from second, and he was able to hold second there. Practical moves, had a great trip. He's in this race, and he won that one. Good effort from Go Rocket Ride. I can see him improving. He's got a lot of upside, and he's got good early pressing speed, so there definitely could be more in the tank. One in Vermillion is next, and this one is a son of Army Mule. He's had 5 starts, 3 wins, and a second. He had good form at Turf Paradise. He won a couple stakes races there in sprint races, and then in the Sunland Park in the Riley Allison Derby, they stretched him out to a mile. He wired the field there. He was fractious at the gate. That was last time in the Sunland Derby, and then he was one that was expected to be on the pace. Couldn't get up there because he was just fidgety in the gate, and he just didn't have a good break, and he finished 5th, beaten 12 lengths. So they're going to run him right back in this race, and I think that he can impact the pace in here, but I would be surprised if he was around at the end. Practical move for trainer Tim Yakteen. 6 starts, 3 wins, a second and 2/3. He's been very consistent. He's 2 for 2 at Santa Anita Park as well. He's one that has gotten good when they stretched him out into these Derby points races. And his first big win was in the Los Al Futurity at a mile and a 16th, December 17th of last year. Set a great trip. Now, Carmel Road was setting the pace. Practical move was saving all the ground, stalking the pace. Worked his way up in the stretch, scooted up the inside, and he won by an easy 3 lengths. Came back in the San Felipe, and he sat that same trip. Post 2, 9-horse field, and he was just able to get up there, stalk the pace, just like he did in that Los Al Futurity, scooted up the rail, and he won by 2.5 lengths. So let's see if he can pull off that same trip 3 times in a row. It's possible that he can. I'm not sure how far this horse wants to go overall. I think mile 1 1/8 is certainly within range, but we'll have to see how that plays out. And I want to see him overcome something. He's just had dream trips in those back-to-back wins, but he certainly does have ability. National Treasure is one I always liked for trainer Tim Yakteen now. Bob Baffert had him before. His problem is he hasn't run since January 8th in that Sham Stakes. Now, he started out with a wire-to-wire 6.5 furlong win last year at Del Mar, and he had blinkers, and they took blinkers off second time out. His stablemate at that time, Cave Rock, was able to wire the field in that Grade 1 American Pharoah, and National Treasure chased from second, and he stayed there throughout, and he was clearly second best. Hijazi was third there, and he was the next out winner. National Treasure came back, and Cave Rock did as well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Nobody was catching 2-year-old champion Forte. He was rallying from off the pace and winning. He's now a 4-time Grade 1 winner. Cave Rock was setting the pace there, and he was clearly second best. And National Treasure was best of the rest in third, stalking the pace. And he put blinkers back on there in that 10-horse field. So he had blinkers in his debut. He didn't have them second time out. Put them back on in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Took them off again in the Sham Stakes. Didn't have the smoothest trip in the Sham. Reincarnate was able to gut out that victory all over the pace. And Newgate was a next out stakes winner in the Robert Lewis Stakes. Now Reincarnate came back and he ran okay in the Rebel Stakes in the Arkansas Derby, finishing third in those races. And then National Treasure was well clear of the rest that day. He was supposed to run in the San Felipe. He had a foot issue. They couldn't run him there. And they paid $500,000 for this on a quality road. And now he's in deep water on the road to the Derby because he may have to win this race to have enough points to qualify. Because even though he came in second in the American Pharoah and then third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and Sham, which would have given him points on the road to the Derby in all those races, he was in the Bob Baffert barn at that time. And Bob Baffert runners ineligible to earn Derby points. So now he's in the Yakteen barn trying to get into the Derby. And he, like I said, he may have to win this race. He'll probably stalk under his regular rider, Johnny V. Skinner is next for trainer John Sheriffs. This is the son of Curlin. And he showed ability last year when he was a maiden second time out. 5 furlongs, way too short in his debut. He was 13 lengths back in last. He split a 10-horse field that day. Del Mar Futurity at 7 furlongs, a little bit of a better distance, but he still wanted more ground. Cave Rock having a meltdown 1-2. And not a bad effort for Skinner as a maiden second time out to finish third in that stakes race behind quality runners. The American Pharoah Stakes was his next start. Cave Rock, National Treasure, Hijazi, I mentioned they were 1, 2, 3. He was sixth, beating 28 lengths. He was racing wide. John Sheriffs gave him the rest of the year off, brought him back February of this year in a 2-turn, maiden special weight race at 1 mile. And then in that February 12th race, he added Lasix, and he was strong from off the pace. He won by more than 3 lengths. That was a fast race. Good effort there. The San Felipe last time out did not have Lasix, and he ran an okay race. In that race, the pace wasn't super quick in that San Felipe at all. It was just more of a controlled tempo, and he ran well, rallying from last place to finish third, beaten a little less than 4 lengths, and he was only a length or so behind Go Rocket Ride. So now his third start of the year, if he can get enough pace help, look out for him under Victor Espinoza. Mandarin Hero is in from Japan. This one is a son of Shanghai Bobby. 5 starts in Japan with 4 wins and a second. We're going to see where he fits with these. As he won at 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, 1 mile, and then he was second in a mile and an eighth in his last start. Probably the distance won't be a huge issue. Kazushi Kimura will ride. He's having a solid enough meet at Santa Anita Park. Good quality rider from Woodbine. And this horse has 1 workout at Santa Anita Park, and we'll have to see where he fits. He's the mystery horse in here. Low expectations under Umberto Rispoli in here for trainer Antonio Garcia. Has run 7 times, 2 wins, a second and a third. He's 2 for 2 at Santa Anita. He won a maiden claiming 62.5, wiring the field. And then on March 3rd, starter optional claiming, he won that one by a neck. And the runner-up was the next out winner. And Low Expectations stepped up into the Sunland Derby. He's had a great stalking trip, losing Lasix that day. He was second, beaten a length and a quarter. A big long shot, a Wild on Ice won that one, and he was 21-1 there. So now this is a tough spot. I like his early pressing versatility that he could end up working at an okay stalking trip. But he's got to run the race of his life to compete with these. So the pace is interesting in here. There's the possibility that it could heat up. It may or may not, depending on which horses do what in here. Some could show speed, some may kind of take back and try to be more tactical. Jockey's race in here. Practical move, certainly if he can work out another one of those good stalking type trips, saving ground, he's a contender. But I want to see him, maybe if he doesn't sit that trip, what he can do. I would like to pick National Treasure higher, but I'm just not sure what he's going to do in his first start since January. I'm going to go with Skinner in here. I'm looking at the possibility that the pace could be honest, and he's one that's definitely faster this year. His last 2 speed ratings, the best 2 ratings of his career. So he was one that showed ability as a 2-year-old, and now he's faster as a 3-year-old, and he has that strong pedigree to go on and run longer distances with Curlin as the sire, Malibu Moon as the dam sire. John Sheriff's a patient trainer. He shows a profit in the graded stakes ranks, and I like that he's giving this horse another shot to qualify for the Derby. And I think he's one that if the pace heats up enough, number 7 Skinner can come running for the win. And we'll give a quick look here now at the Santa Anita Oaks, and it'll be the 11th race on April 8th, Grade 2, $400,000 Santa Anita Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Mile and a 16th on the main track. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time is going to be the post time. Venganza is number 1 for Richard Mandela. Wired the field in a race originally scheduled for the turf and moved to the dirt course on March 11th. And in that race, it was only 2 horses. So this one was able to just go out there, set the pace, and keep on going as the favorite there. Tough spot to come off of a maiden win against one other rival right into a 2-turn stakes race. He should impact the pace. Gila is another one that can impact the pace, coming off of a 12-length wire-to-wire maiden win against maiden claiming 30 company at 1 mile. Tough spot here. Clearly Unhinged. Another one, wire-to-wire maiden win. Last time out, 6.5 furlongs. This one's highly regarded, but just that one start, meeting other speed. Juan Hernandez, leading rider, gets aboard here. John Velasquez rode last time. Cliquish, another last out maiden winner, breaking the maiden by 9 lengths for trainer Phil D'Amato. Bernardini, Bellamy Road, good pedigree to go on. Umberto Rispoli gets aboard, and he'll probably try to come from off the pace in here. Faiza hasn't done anything wrong, 4 for 4 for trainer Bob Baffert, but she is not eligible to earn Kentucky Oaks points. If you needed to run in the Derby or Oaks, you had to be out of the Bob Baffert barn by February 28th. That hasn't been the case with Faiza, but I've liked her all along, and she has good tactical speed and should work out a good trip under Flavien Prat. Won her sprint debut, pressing the pace, stalked and scored in the Starlet, stalked and scored in the Las Virgenes, pressed, won again, Santa Isabel last time, and her speed ratings continue to slowly get better, but she hasn't really busted out with a big speed rating yet. Richard Mandela trains number 6, Window Shopping, and this is a Daughter of American Pharaoh and a $700,000 purchase with Hector Barrios riding. A race originally scheduled for the turf, second time out, moved to the main track, and she ended up breaking her maiden by 16 lengths, adding Lasix as the favorite, stalking the pace. Much tougher spot in here, losing Lasix and facing Stakes Company. Princess Bettina exits a victory in the China Doll Stakes, going wire to wire under Frankie Dettori on the turf course at 1 mile. And Dettori will ride back. Typically, she liked to rally from off the pace in those other races that she ran in on the turf course. And she didn't do much in her first 2 dirt starts. She was third, a well-beaten third in her debut, and then she was 10th, beaten 26 lengths. So I don't know that she moves up on the surface switch here. And Tell Me No Lies, a big filly for trainer Peter Miller. This is a Daughter of Arrogate, exchange rate, the dam sire, and she showed a lot of ability as a 2-year-old, 4th in her career debut at 5 furlongs, but then she kicked on the afterburners. 6.5 furlongs, she pressed and won nicely second time out. Grade 1 Delmar debutante, as my top choice, she upset the field at 9-1 odds. Good value that day. The Grade 2 Chandelier, she won that one as well from off the pace. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly, she was 8th in a 13-horse field. Not the best trip that day. And then last time, the Santa Isabel Stakes, Peter Miller said she will be short for this race. My goal was the Kentucky Oaks, and I'm going to get her ready for that. And then she did run a good race behind Faiza, finishing second. With all the wet weather at Santa Anita, missed some workouts, and he was in no hurry. He just wanted to make sure he got a race into her and then got a second race prior to the Kentucky Oaks. And this Santa Anita Oaks, she should move forward under Ramon Vasquez, her regular rider. Don't get pickled. Last time out in the Sunland Park Oaks, rallied from 15 lengths back to finish a well-beaten third. A decent effort there, chugging along for the show. And she's one that's going to kind of do the same thing in here, just kind of chug along from off the pace and maybe try to get a piece of this. She's run 8 times with 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Faiza's probably the one to beat. I've picked her in all of these races, but I'm not going to pick her this time. I liked her in the Starlet. I liked her in the Las Virgenes. I liked her in the Santa Isabel. I like her here too, but I'm not going to pick her on top this time. I think she's facing a deeper cast overall, and with the paces a little bit quicker, we'll see if she still has that finishing kick. I'm going to go with And Tell Me No Lies for trainer Peter Miller. I just think with this pedigree, Arrogant the sire, I think that she's going to continue to get better as the year goes on. And with that in mind, he knew that as well. Peter Miller knew that, and he knew that let's give her a race off the layoff last time, get a solid race under her belt. Let's start cranking her up for the Kentucky Oaks. And I think this race could set up for her. And Tell Me No Lies is my top choice in the Santa Anita Oaks. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. And that will wrap up my look at the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks points races this week. Check out my YouTube channel for all my Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby analysis videos and recap videos as well. Now that all these Kentucky Oaks points races are wrapping up, I'm going to catch up with some analysis videos, recap videos the next couple weeks. So check out my YouTube channel for all this Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby stuff that I post every week. So until I see you next time, good luck.